Welcome students. So in today's class we shall be starting with our new topic of cobalamin or vitamin B12. So it is also known as anti-pernicious anemia vitamin. So its other name is anti-pernicious anemia vitamin. So from its name it is clear that it is used to overcome the deficiency of pernicious anemia, and it is also a unique vitamin and synthesized only by the microorganisms and not by the animals or plants. So this was the last vitamin to be discovered, and moreover it is only secreted by, we can say, synthesized by microorganisms. So now let us discuss its chemistry first. So it is having quite a complex structure. So students, be attentive and understand the chemistry of it. So it is having quite a complex structure with the empirical formula of C63 H90 N14 O14 P cobalt Cu. So it basically consists of a Corin ring structure, we can say. This is a Corin ring structure with a central cobalt atom. So it is similar to the tetrapyrrole ring structure found in the other porphyrin compounds such as heme and chlorophyll. So it has basically 4 pyrrole units. The Corin ring is having 4 pyrrole units that are bound to the each other by the either directly or through methane bridges. So now let us first draw the structure of cyanocobalamin. So in order to understand, we must be drawing first the pyrrole ring structures. So students, be careful while drawing this. So understand that how a pyrrole structure is drawn. So this is a pyrrole structure, we can see here, and to this the groups are attached such as methyl, acetamide, propionamide. So I shall be highlighting each one here. So you can see here that acetamide and methyl both are attached, and at this position the methyl group is also attached. So this is our first pyrrole ring structure. So similarly, through a methane bridge, a second group is also attached, we can see here. So here is a methane bridge, and a second pyrrole will be attached from this side. And the same groups will be attached here, a methyl and an acetamide. So you can see a CH3 group will be attached here. So this is the B pyrrole ring. So with another methane bridge structure The next pyrrole ring structure will be attached. So similarly, two methyl groups will be attached here, and at this position a propionamide will be attached. So students, in the ring A1 and A2, in the A and B, we are attaching the acetamide rings, acetamide group. So here a propionamide group will be attached at the C pyrrole ring structure. And now again so now we shall be drawing here our last pyrrole ring structure, that is also linked together with methene bridge, and here a methyl group is attached. So you can see here, similarly a methyl group is attached here and a propionamide will be attached at this position. And an acetamide group will be attached here. So the group pyrrole ring A and D, they are joined directly with each other here. So no methene bridges between group A, pyrrole ring A and D, whereas A, B, C and D are joined through each other by a methene bridge. So I shall be highlighting here what are the different groups. Don't get confused. This is a methyl, this is an acetamide, and this is a propionamide. This is a methene bridge, whereas this one is the direct linkage. So all of these nitrogen in the pyrrole, they are joined together with a cobalt atom. So here is the point where the complexity increases. So how this is increased, you can see that a coordinate ring structure is formed here, and cobalt is having a coordinate state of +6 here. So we can see that 4 coordinate bonds are formed by the pyrrole ring structures with the cobalt. Now comes the 5th bond, that is with the cyanide. You can see here the cyanide is directly attached to the cobalt from this side, and another dimethyl benzimidazole. Now the dimethyl benzimidazole now here you can see the dimethyl benzimidazole is attached on this side, so students, this is dimethyl benzimidazole also sometimes referred as DMB. So don't get confused if you see a term DMB in the cyanocobalamin. Now this dimethyl benzimidazole is further attached to a ribose 5-phosphate sugar, so you can see that from this carbon end it is further attached to a phosphate group, and an amino isopropanol is also attached with this, and this is having a bond with the propionamide at the D pyrrole ring. So here you can see another structure is being added. So the structure is quite complex, so don't get confused in this. So students, this is attached with the propionamide. So what is this? Known as amino isopropanol. So this is the complete structure for cyanocobalamin. So student, this is the structure of vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. So you can see the complexity of the structure here, how complex is the structure of cyanocobalamin. Just see how pyrrole ring structures are attached to each other. Now there are different kinds of the substituent groups that may be added to this other than that of the cyanide. So in order to represent it in the simplest form, we can use this annotation. So this plane represents the pyrrole ring structure, and to its center it is attached with the cobalt. You can see at the lower end it is attached with the dimethyl benzimidazole, also DMB, and to the one end it is attached to the cyanide. So this is the structure of cyanocobalamin that we have drawn here. It is also represented in this short form. Other than this, here you can see these are the 4 pyrrole corners. So don't get confused in this. So other than this cyanocobalamin, there occurs a methylcobalamin also. Just the difference is that instead of the cyanide, a methyl group will be attached and the rest of the structure remains the same. So at this position, when CH3 is attached, it is known as methylcobalamin. And similarly, when an adenosine group is attached, it is known as 5-deoxyadenosylcobalamin. So instead of methyl, there will be an adenosine. So you will have to remember only these two because they are quite important. Now, how the absorption, transport and storage of vitamin B12 occurs. So students, this is also quite fascinating, that how the absorption, transport and storage occurs. We can say the fate of vitamin B12 in our body. In order to understand this, we can divide it into 3 parts, that is the gastrointestinal tract, the plasma and the tissues. So now let us see in the gastrointestinal tract, in the stomach. It starts from the stomach. So let us draw a rough diagram of stomach first. So in this, most of the vitamin B12 comes with the protein. So here you can see the protein is attached with vitamin B12. So this is transferred into the stomach, and inside it the protein gets detached, or we can say the vitamin B12 is get detached from it. And the protein part goes into the stomach and it is digested over there. Now vitamin B12, it then again combines with the intrinsic factor that is secreted by the cells in the stomach, and a complex of intrinsic factor bound vitamin B12 is formed. So this complex is then transferred into the intestines, small intestine basically, where the mucosal cells lead to the calcium dependent synthesis of methyl vitamin B12. So students, don't get confused here. Actually it is like this, that intrinsic factor and vitamin B12 are bound to each other. Now they enter the mucosal cells of the intestine. So inside the mucosal cells, the vitamin B12 is separated out, which is further attached with the methyl group, and methyl cobalamin is formed. This structure, methyl cobalamin, is formed here. So this complete reaction, this occurs in mucosal cells. In the intestine. So through this, before representing that, we must draw a line representing the plasma. So now this vitamin B12 goes into the plasma, and it is subjected to transcobalamin's enzymes, leading to formation of TC1B12, and simply a B12 is liberated. So here you can see the action of transcobalamin 1 leads to formation of TC1B12. Now this is the 90% of the vitamin B12, where this is the 10% left out only. Now this TC1B12 is further subjected to various tissues, where it is absorbed from plasma. So you can see that it is now crossing the plasma barrier to get absorbed into the tissues. So here we can write that it is absorbed in various other tissues. Whereas this vitamin B12 which is left over, it is again bound with another enzyme known as TC2 and leads to formation of TC2B12. Now this TC2B12 is also transferred into various other tissues of vitamin B12, but at the same times it may liberate back the TC2 and gets stored into the liver. So this is also leading to storage in the liver also. So this gets stored in the form of methyl B12 inside the liver, which is further subjected to the permanent storage form of deoxyadenosyl B12. Deoxyadenosyl B12. So this is the storage form of vitamin B12 inside the liver. So this is getting stored completely inside the liver. So students, this is the fate of vitamin B12. So this happens to the vitamin B12 inside our body. So in case of its biochemical functions, now let us start with the biochemical functions. So students, its biochemical functions are, the first one is conversion of homocysteine to methionine. So this is vitamin B12 dependent reaction, and it occurs only in presence of methylcobalamin as a coenzyme. Whereas the second important biochemical function is formation of succinyl coenzyme A. So this succinyl coenzyme A is used in, we all know that, TCA cycle and also in the porphyrins. So it is also of great importance. These are the major biochemical functions. Now the recommended dietary intake it is equal to 3 micrograms per day, whereas in case of pregnancy this may be increased to 4 micrograms per day also. And the dietary sources are only of the animal origin, as it is not found in the plant. So it is obtained from liver, milk, kidneys, curd, egg, fish, pork. So these are the major sources of vitamin B12, and mostly curd is suggested as a better source of vitamin B12 rather than the milk, due to the synthesis of B12 by the lactobacillus present in the curd. So the deficiency may lead to, so its deficiency causes pernicious anemia, that is characterized by the low levels of the hemoglobin. So there are decreased HB levels, we can see, and decreased levels of erythrocytes also, and certain neurological manifestations are also there. So these are the major deficiency symptoms of vitamin B12, and in order to overcome this, an administered dose of around 100 to 1000 micrograms of vitamin B12 is given intramuscularly. So IM injections are given in order to remove the deficiency of vitamin B12. So students, this was all regarding the vitamin B12. You can see its complex structure here. Then comes the fate, that is given here, the deficiency symptoms, the dietary intake, and its biochemical function. So these are the two major coenzymes of cyanocobalamin. So I hope now the structure of cobalamin or vitamin B12 is clear to you all.